You're listening to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, created to help you succeed in your Security Plus certification journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional prepcasts, books, and training materials await. Let's get started. Host-based intrusion prevention and detection systems, HIPS and HIDS, provide critical runtime protection and visibility into endpoint behavior. While configuration hardening reduces the attack surface, intrusion prevention detects or blocks suspicious activity that slips through. Host-based tools can monitor system calls, file changes, or process behavior, raising alerts, or taking action against anomalies. For example, a HIPS might block a buffer overflow attempt against a browser, while a HIDS logs evidence of tampered configuration files. These technologies complement preventative hardening by providing adaptive defenses against both known and emerging threats. Together, they create a layered approach. Hardening denies opportunities, while intrusion prevention responds to active exploitation attempts. Application whitelisting, also called runtime allow list enforcement, strengthens protection by ensuring only trusted software executes on endpoints. Unlike signature-based antivirus, which attempts to block known malware, whitelisting enforces a strict default deny stance. At runtime, any binary not on the approved list is prevented from executing. This dramatically reduces the ability of attackers to introduce unauthorized code, including ransomware or commodity malware. Whitelisting works especially well in controlled environments, such as kiosks or servers with stable application sets. While operationally challenging in dynamic environments, when managed carefully, it provides one of the most powerful runtime hardening protections available. Kernel and OS-level configuration controls are another core element of hardening. Parameters like those set with sysctl in Linux define low-level behaviors that can enhance resilience. Examples include disabling IP forwarding if unnecessary, enforcing strict memory protections, or limiting source-routed packets. These settings prevent attackers from exploiting weaker defaults or legacy behaviors embedded in operating systems. Kernel-level hardening ensures that systemic protections are enforced beneath applications, making bypass far more difficult. Secure parameter configuration reflects the principle of hardening from the ground up, ensuring the operating system itself resists compromise before additional layers of defense come into play. Secure logging practices are vital to system hardening because they ensure reliable forensic evidence is available when incidents occur. Hardened systems centralize log collection to prevent tampering, use tamper-evident storage formats, and enforce retention policies that satisfy both operational and regulatory needs. Local logs should be forwarded to centralized platforms where attackers cannot easily modify or erase them. Retention ensures investigations have adequate historical data, while tamper detection ensures confidence in their accuracy. Secure logging transforms raw telemetry into trustworthy evidence, supporting detection, response, and compliance. Hardened systems do not just generate logs, they protect and preserve them as part of their defensive posture. Endpoint encryption protects local data stores from disclosure if devices are stolen or compromised. Full disk encryption ensures that even if an attacker gains physical access to a device, they cannot read its contents without the proper key. File and folder-level encryption extends this protection to specific sensitive repositories. Endpoint encryption is a key part of hardening because it mitigates one of the most common real-world risks: lost or stolen laptops. Combined with secure key management, encryption ensures confidentiality remains intact even when devices leave trusted environments. Hardened systems assume compromise is possible and protect data so it remains useless to attackers. Secure bootstrapping techniques verify the integrity of systems at startup, ensuring hardened configurations begin from a trustworthy foundation. Secure Boot, for example, validates that only signed and trusted components load during initialization. This prevents attackers from inserting malicious bootloaders or rootkits that compromise systems before operating system protections engage. Hardware-based attestation and trusted platform modules, TPMs, add further assurance by measuring boot sequences and comparing them against baselines. By ensuring initial integrity, Bootstrapping techniques complement ongoing hardening practices, closing the gap at the earliest stage of system operation. Hardened systems start securely, not just operate securely once fully loaded. User account hygiene is another pillar of system hardening. Dormant or unused accounts should be disabled promptly, as attackers often exploit forgotten credentials. Password policies should enforce complexity, expiration, and reuse restrictions to reduce brute force or credential stuffing risks. Multi-factor authentication further strengthens accounts, ensuring that even if a password is stolen, access is denied. Account hygiene also extends to ensuring that administrative accounts are used only when necessary, with day-to-day tasks performed under non-privileged identities. Hardened systems treat user accounts as high-value targets and enforce controls that minimize exposure while maintaining necessary access for legitimate use. Service account management deserves special focus because these accounts often hold elevated privileges and operate silently in the background. Long-lived credentials associated with services are particularly attractive to attackers. Hardened systems enforce least privilege on service accounts, store credentials securely in vaults, and rotate them regularly. Each account should be tied to a documented service, with monitoring in place to catch unusual use. By minimizing standing privileges and controlling service credentials tightly, defenders reduce one of the most persistent risks in enterprise environments. Strong service account discipline is integral to ensuring hardened systems resist compromise at operational levels. Reducing the attack surface also involves removing unnecessary language, runtimes, and modules. Many operating systems and applications ship with components like Java, Flash, or legacy scripting engines that are no longer widely used but remain exploitable. Hardened systems eliminate these components unless business needs explicitly require them. Even when needed, modules should be updated, restricted, or sandboxed. By pruning runtime environments, administrators deny attackers common exploitation pathways while also reducing patching and maintenance burdens. Attackers thrive on unused but present software. Hardening denies them those opportunities by strictly curating what remains installed and active. Host-level network controls represent another layer of defense in hardening. Local access control lists, ACLs, host firewalls, and hardened network interfaces enforce restrictions even if perimeter defenses are bypassed. For example, a server that only needs to respond to web traffic should block all other inbound connections directly at the host level. Interface hardening includes disabling unused NICs, enforcing secure protocols, and preventing promiscuous modes. These controls ensure systems protect themselves independently, not just rely on broader network protections. Hardened systems use host-level controls to compartmentalize risk, ensuring attackers cannot exploit open pathways even when deeper inside networks. In conclusion, hardening is not a single technique but a layered combination of configuration, runtime protections, and operational discipline. Host-based intrusion prevention, whitelisting, kernel controls, secure logging, and encryption all contribute pieces to a resilient defense. Account hygiene, service account management, and pruning unnecessary components shrink the attack surface further. Host-level network controls add final guardrails, ensuring hardened systems resist compromise even if attackers breach the perimeter. Together, these practices create environments where exploitation is not impossible but significantly more difficult and less rewarding. Hardening represents disciplined prevention, forming the foundation of resilient cybersecurity. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Integrity verification tools provide defenders with the ability to confirm that critical files and binaries remain unaltered. Simple checksums detect changes by comparing hash values against known good references. Signed binaries go further, using cryptographic signatures to prove authenticity and origin. File integrity monitoring (FIM) systems continuously track changes to sensitive files, alerting when unauthorized modifications occur. These tools protect against tampering, ensuring that attackers cannot silently replace components with malicious versions. Hardened systems rely on verification to maintain confidence in their operating environment, treating integrity as a core measure of trustworthiness. Verification ensures systems are not only configured securely but also remain so over time. Tamper detection and alerting expand on integrity monitoring by focusing on real-time awareness. When critical system artifacts such as configuration files, registry keys, or bootloaders are altered, alerts must be generated immediately. Attackers often try to conceal their activity by modifying or deleting evidence. Tamper detection ensures such actions themselves become visible. Effective systems not only log tampering attempts but can trigger automated responses such as restoring files from backup or isolating affected hosts. This immediate visibility reduces attacker dwell time. Tamper detection illustrates how hardened systems go beyond prevention, actively defending themselves against compromise attempts in real time. Secure administrative practices are vital to maintaining hardened environments. Bastion hosts or jump servers provide tightly controlled gateways for administrative access, ensuring privileged sessions are funneled through monitored and hardened points. All administrative sessions should be authenticated strongly, encrypted end-to-end, and audited for accountability. These practices prevent administrators from connecting directly to sensitive systems from insecure networks, reducing opportunities for attackers to intercept credentials or pivot laterally. Hardened systems recognize that administrators themselves are prime targets, so access pathways must be secured and monitored. Bastion models consolidate control, reducing attack surface while ensuring privileged activity is transparent and defensible. Privileged access segmentation and session recording provide further accountability for administrators. Segmentation ensures that high-value accounts are restricted to specific systems, preventing broad, unchecked access. For example, database administrators should not hold domain-level rights unless necessary. Session recording creates forensic records of privileged activity, allowing investigators to review commands, actions, and timelines. This discourages abuse while providing evidence for compliance or incident response. Attackers who steal privileged accounts also face greater risk of exposure under these controls. Segmentation and recording align with least privilege principles, ensuring elevated accounts remain tightly scoped and traceable. Hardened systems treat privileged access as both necessary and high risk. Automated configuration enforcement and policy as code validation loops keep systems aligned with hardened states. Instead of relying on manual compliance checks, automated tools continuously apply security policies and remediate deviations. For example, if password policies are weakened or logging is disabled, systems can automatically restore approved configurations. Policy as code frameworks embed these rules into provisioning pipelines, ensuring no insecure configurations reach production. Continuous enforcement reduces the window of vulnerability and relieves administrators of repetitive tasks. Hardened systems embrace automation not as convenience but as discipline, embedding consistency into the very fabric of infrastructure management. Automation turns policy into lived practice. Secure container host hardening is essential as organizations adopt containerization. Hosts running containers must use minimal base operating systems, patch frequently, and disable unnecessary services. Container images themselves should be built from trusted, minimal sources, avoiding bloat and unverified dependencies. Security controls at the host level, such as mandatory access controls, e.g., SE-Linux or AppArmor, enforce strong isolation between workloads. Hardened container environments minimize both the footprint of hosts and the complexity of images, reducing opportunities for attackers. Containers increase efficiency, but also expand risk if left unmanaged. Host and image hardening ensures containerization enhances operations without opening new vulnerabilities. Periodic re-benchmarking ensures that systems remain aligned with current standards. Security benchmarks like those from CIS or vendor-specific guides evolve over time as threats and best practices change. Systems hardened to last year's standard may already be outdated today. Re-benchmarking involves reassessing configurations against updated guidance and applying changes where necessary. This practice ensures that hardening remains current, not static. Regular re-benchmarking also demonstrates compliance during audits, showing organizations are not only meeting standards but actively adapting. Hardened environments must evolve alongside adversaries, making re-benchmarking a routine and expected part of long-term security programs. Rollback and recovery plans protect organizations when hardening-induced failures occur. Restrictive configurations can sometimes interfere with legitimate workflows, causing outages or performance degradation. Rollback mechanisms allow administrators to revert systems quickly to prior states, minimizing downtime. Recovery plans ensure that security does not become an obstacle to operations but a balanced part of risk management. Hardened systems are resilient not only against attackers but also against human or process errors. By embedding rollback and recovery strategies, organizations gain the confidence to harden aggressively, knowing they can quickly adapt if security measures disrupt functionality. Testing hardening configurations in staging environments reduces operational risk before production rollout. By validating new settings in environments that mirror production, organizations can identify unexpected issues and adjust policies without affecting users. Staging provides a safe space for experimenting with new benchmarks, runtime protections, or access models. Without testing, changes may break critical workflows or create instability. Hardened systems recognize the value of deliberate, phased deployment. Testing bridges the gap between security intent and operational reality, ensuring configurations deliver the desired protections without unintended consequences. Validation and staging reflects disciplined engineering as much as cybersecurity. Documentation and runbooks ensure hardened states are reproducible and auditable. Runbooks describe how configurations were applied, what parameters were chosen, and how issues were resolved. This documentation provides transparency for audits, consistency for administrators, and a roadmap for recovery if systems need rebuilding. Without runbooks, hardening becomes tribal knowledge, dependent on individuals rather than institutional memory. Documentation elevates hardening from ad hoc effort to formal program, ensuring long-term sustainability. Hardened systems are not only secured but also well documented, proving their resilience to both attackers and auditors. Documentation is as much a control as encryption or firewalls. Ultimately, continuous verification, monitoring, and iterative improvement are the best practices for system hardening. Environments evolve, threats shift, and configurations drift. Hardened systems must be revisited, retested, and revalidated regularly. Monitoring ensures that protections are enforced in practice, while verification confirms they remain effective. Iterative improvement applies lessons learned from incidents and audits to refine baselines. Hardening is not a one-time project but an enduring discipline, requiring vigilance and adaptability. Organizations that commit to continuous improvement transform hardening from static defense into dynamic resilience, ensuring systems remain robust even as adversaries innovate. Thanks for tuning in to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, your trusted source for cybersecurity news and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, stay secure and stay vigilant.